Westplex 107.1, yes, just the way I am. No different whatsoever. Take me or leave me just the way I am. That's the way Shelley is, right?
That is exactly the way I am. Thank you.
Spooky, spooky, spooky. Hey, you know what?
Spooky. Is that what you said?
I said spooky, spooky, spooky. We always have to start off the morning with, we have certain things we have to do every day. And matter of fact, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the new FCC rules and regulations is that you have to give current information about listeners, and so what we do is we've hired a guy that essentially, current information about listeners is people who listen to the show, and we like to give their birthdays and anniversaries. So we hired.
Please don't start the show out like this.
We hired Henry DiCarlo, who's big at this. Matter of fact, he does this all over the nation. So Henry, you got the anniversaries and birthdays for today? Good old Hugh. Boy, he's 10 every day. Don't you love it?
Thank you for starting out the Friday like this, Brad.
It's going to be an interesting day today. 39 right now. We're only going to go up to about 44. So pretty much if you walk outside right now, that's the temperature is going to be pretty much all day long. And there is a chance, just a slight chance of some rain tonight. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But that's probably not going to come in till maybe 11 o'clock this evening and early tomorrow.
After all the festivities.
Yes,
tonight.
and was going to mention that today is the day, tonight is the night. It is the official tree lighting ceremony for the St. Charles County version of the Tree of Lights for Salvation Army. And we'll be out at the Darden Prairie City Hall. It's not us. It's usually hundreds. And matter of fact, I think in some years we've had thousands of people there. Haven't there been? There's been a bunch of people.
It's been quite packed.
Yeah, and it's free event, fun event. Come on out. If you got kids, Santa Claus.
Is lovely.
Right, Santa Claus is there. There's some nice treats, some cookies and candy, and I believe if the temperature's cold enough, they'll have some hot chocolate and coffee as well too. And it's all to really, 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 really kick off the biggest fund drive of the year for the Salvation Army, which is the bell ringers and the people out there. And please, even if you just dip down into your pocket when you're walking in and out of a store where the bell ringers are, they don't have a problem with taking change. If you got a quarter, penny, nickel, whatever, they like the folding money. But you know what? The change works just as well too. And they are, a matter of fact, as of today, actually, you'll see them practically everywhere. And as of next week, any of the locations should be manned, pretty much manned or womaned. Can you say that? Manned, womaned? Personed?
I think you'd say personed.
Personed. Pretty much during
humaned.
Human.
Every place will be humaned.
We don't have any monkeys out there. So every day up until Christmas. And literally, I know this for a fact. I did one of the last, I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago, I did one of the last sessions where I bell rang from 9 in the morning till noon on Christmas Eve. So, and it was great. I mean, a lot of people, matter of fact, I put some money in the kettle for the Salvation Army that day. I was at the Schnucks in Cottleville and had a great time and met a lot of nice people.
Which he got yelled at for not using his indoor bell.
No, I never did get yelled at. I just sort of got schooled.
He got questioned?
Major Key informed me that I was using the wrong bell. By the way, I have my bell, and I have it in my car. Matter of fact, what I've done is this has actually worked out real well for me. When somebody cuts you off in traffic, instead of me getting mad, I just get out and I ring my bell at them. So I keep that in my car. So I'll bring it in here.
Yeah, do that. It sounds like this. Can you hear that?
Can I hear what? Are you shaking your head again?
No, I'm shaking my little Salvation Army bell, the little baby one that I have 2 of them, and I turned them into earrings.
Oh, listen to you.
I did.
Anyway, what time does that start tonight, Shelley? Do you know?
I will find out for you.
Okay, the official time. It is BS in the Morning. We are BS. You can check out our website at BSinthemorning.show. Lots of good music, some great commercials, and even some stupid things that I say. Shelley's the one that says all the smart stuff. We'll be back, 6:08. Westplex 107.1. That's what I just said. She just says that. She just wants to talk all the time. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's like a lot of women in your life.
No. Like Shelley Barr. She wants to talk all the time, right?
I do. But I always like to let you have the first part of the conversation.
No. That's not right. You should have the first part of the conversation. Should be you first.
Well, whenever I do, you don't respond.
Oh, listen to you. I'm going to talk about a lot of things this morning.
You deflect.
Next hour, we're going to talk about, it's funny, you hear all these different lists of songs that, these are the, like you have the CMAs, the Country Music Awards, and you have the, the Grammys and things like that. Have you ever heard of the Waffle House Awards?
No.
Believe it or not, Waffle House has their own top 10 of music. And you're probably going, what's he talking about? They have a
Is that what they pipe through at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're getting your biscuits and gravy to soak up your vodka?
Okay. First off, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever been to a Waffle House before?
Yes.
I have never been to a Waffle House because I'm not a breakfast guy. I mean, like right now.
They have hamburgers, Brad.
Like I could get a hamburger right now?
I don't know the answer to that
question. Well,
question.
See, that's the problem because
I know you can at Denny's.
Well, but I'm not, once again, I don't go to breakfast places. And don't take this the wrong way, and I'm not trying to make fun of any places, but places like First Watch and Egg and I and places like that are only doing like breakfast, I have no interest in those. I mean, to me, when I get up, a pepperoni pizza tastes as good at 6:17 in the morning right now as it does at 6:17 at night. If Domino's was open right now and I had the urge, I would order a pizza right now, but you can't get it. So therefore, I've never had any interest to go to a Waffle House. And quite honestly, most places that like are breakfast places, I've never been in before. I've never been in. Where were the places you were mentioning? You mentioned what? A bunch of them. Where were the ones you were talking about? Breakfast places?
You just talked about them, but Denny's is a breakfast place, but you can get food all, the entire menu. And you mentioned Egg and I, and then you also mentioned, which, by the way, they've closed on K.
Really?
There's a new owner there. But it's still a breakfast place.
A new owner?
And lunch place.
It's not called Egg and I anymore?
No.
What's it called?
I and Egg. I don't know.
How about Hamburger and Me? I'd like that. Anyway.
Hamburger and Me.
Okay, well,
Your favorite character was the Hamburglar, wasn't it?
No, I never liked those. What's interesting is that the clown's gone. Ronald McDonald is gone. They don't have Ronald McDonald.
Which I don't understand. And the 5,066,000,000,000.
Well, that's all gone.
Hamburger served today. That's all gone too. Well, and I don't understand why.
But think about that for a minute, though. Okay, you had the characters, the Hamburglar. Okay, when you really do think about that, is that the kind of character you want to have, for your kids? Some guy who steals hamburgers?
Okay, we grew up with that, and we turned out just fine.
But
seriously, our generations turned out just fine.
What Shelley is not telling you is that, and man, I hate to go public with this, but I think it's the time I do, that Shelley is actually on probation for breaking into places and stealing hamburgers. So there's a perfect example that maybe the Hamburglar when we grew up wasn't a good influence, because that's what Shelley does now. She's been caught in Wentzville, Cottleville, O'Fallon, where she breaks into hamburger places and she steals hamburgers. And when they catch her, she says, well, I'm the Hamburglar.
You're the hamburger aficionado. And if I was going to break into somewhere, it would be, well, I'm not going to give away my secret, but it definitely wouldn't be hamburger places.
Interesting. Anyway, the McDonald's characters are, for the most part, pretty much gone. And is that good or is that bad? Ronald McDonald, gone. Because of the whole deal with the clowns. Now,
he's the whole purpose of
but he's gone. He's not around anymore.
McDonald's.
Because remember this whole thing with the crazy thing? It started out with this crazy thing that some lady said that the clown came out of the woods and tried to grab her kid, and and then the police went, and and first off,
they found a red hat, a red furry thing.
There are some people that are deathly afraid of clowns. Are you one of those?
That's true, but it's been an icon for what, 50 years,
Yeah, but
if
come
not
on.
more.
Think about everything that's going on right now. Things that were okay are now not okay. Things
I
that
know that.
you could say you can't say anymore. Things that used to be acceptable
you shouldn't
socially.
be wearing shoulder pads anymore, but yet I have shoulder pads from the 80s.
I have shoulder pads from when I used to play football, but that's a whole other story. But you know what I mean? It's to the point where I get this revisionist history stuff. Like, for example, we'll talk about this next hour. I sort of teased you yesterday when I said this. We're going to talk about the Waffle House top 10, but we'll also talk about this case, not case, but the new prosecuting attorney in San Francisco. And it's a really interesting story, at least it is to me, because of the fact that what he's doing is very similar to what Kim Gardner has done in the city of St. Louis. And they're essentially saying, you know what? These people shouldn't be in jail. Sort of like the deal we talked about what's going to go on in Illinois as of next year, as of January 1st. They're eliminating cash bail. So in other words, in Illinois, if it's a nonviolent crime, if you walk into a store and steal something, if you break into your next door neighbor's house and steal something, and you get arrested, they just process you and then they just release you. There's no more, incarceration. There's no bail.
Unless your neighbor happens to carry and he pulls you into his house and protects his family, but then the courts wouldn't really even be involved in that.
Even to the point where they're talking about, like, I heard our Attorney General from the state of Missouri, Eric Schmidt, talking about they're trying to crack down on carjacking and they're trying to pass a special law. Okay, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, isn't it already illegal to, steal a car and, forcibly steal a car, sometimes, shoot the people, unfortunately, sometimes kill the people. They just had the case the other day where, I don't know if you remember this, the guy that drove the party bus who was killed down at Busch Stadium when a guy hijacked from two women. He hijacked their pickup truck. It was a guy and a gal, and they threw him out of the pickup truck, grabbed their keys, took off the pickup truck, and then the guy jumped in the pickup truck and flew off, just went flying down the street, hopped the curb, hit this poor guy, killed him, hit another person, almost hit two police officers, a couple bystanders. And essentially, when they, and then they had a wreck and they found him, and their excuse was, we're homeless, we needed a car. Okay, so that's carjacking, but isn't that already illegal what they did?
But it's also some type of homicide, is it not?
Well, in that case, yeah. But once again, they're saying, well, we need a law for carjacking. You're making my point. It's like, okay, you assaulted a woman, you stole her car. So first off, A, assault, B, car theft, C, you killed somebody. Why do you need another law? I mean, why is there, can't you arrest them on car theft and assault, when you pull somebody out of a car, stuff like that? And like I told you, that's the thing with the carjacking thing. That's the law of unintended consequences. The reason they carjack now is because the anti-theft systems have gotten so good on the cars that it's almost impossible, not impossible, but much, much, much harder to steal a car. So how do you get a car? Well, you get it when somebody's in it and they got the keys and it's running. That's how you get the car, and it's real easy then. You just, pull them over, you jump in front of them, at a stoplight, whatever, you pull a gun on them, you yank them out of the car, zoop, off you go. You got the keys and everything. Car's running. You don't even have to do anything.
That's not necessarily accurate.
Why is that not accurate?
Because the ones that have the push start,
yeah,
if you've got the key with you, the car will still be running.
Yeah.
But once they turn it off, it's dead.
Yeah, but most, Shelley, they're not using these cars to drive to California and stuff like that. They're using them just to, go someplace. Just, a lot of times they find these cars abandoned, smashed into things, wrecked, stuff like that. It's just like when I used to work for the police department, we had cars that were stolen that would end up in certain places, and sometimes they'd find these people and they'd arrest them and they go, "Why'd you steal the car?" "I needed a ride home." That's what they'd say. They say, "I needed a ride home. I didn't want to."
They actually do that down in several locations. When somebody is across this, like across the county,
right?
They call 911, and then basically they get a free ride to the hospital, and then they walk in, and then they walk out.
Well, right. Well, sad. You think about that. It's just to the point
It
where
is. It is. It's tragic.
I watched this video, And it's actually sort of fascinating. This guy, maybe we'll talk about it next hour, this guy who is doing the talk show circuit. And on this particular time, he was on a podcast. And this guy is a convicted felon for essentially he started out in the real estate business, and then he was a real estate agent. Then he bought his own. Then he was a mortgage broker, and then he owned his own mortgage company, and then he got into fraud, where he was essentially defrauding banks, where he was getting multiple loans on one piece of property. And when they interviewed him, like there were times when they talked about that some of these people that, when he would defraud them on a home or something like that, he was like, hey, I don't have to worry about that. They got mortgage insurance. They got, when they go through the title company, that'll be taken care of. And he was like, and the people were going like, well, don't you feel bad for those people? Nah, could care less. That's the attitude you have that scares me, is when people go like, it's all about me. I don't care about you. And
unfortunately, there's too much of that in this world.
Yep. We got to take a break. 6:26. Westplex 107.1 Renegade. That's what Shelley is. She the way she dresses in all sorts of weird clothing. Yesterday
I do. I teeter on the edge of age and weight inappropriate. I'm not going to lie.
She was a construction worker yesterday. She was walking around like in Carhartts and a hard hat.
And my safety steel-toe boots. Don't forget that.
There you go. 6:36. Good morning. It is BS in the Morning. Weather-wise, going to be a decent day today, if you don't mind a little bit colder than yesterday. Supposed to be 39 today. That's going to be the high. 42. We're at 39 right now. And chance of maybe a little bit of sun this afternoon. It's going to be cloudy mostly this morning. So just sort of have to deal with it. But, so far, not bad. There was a little bit of rain last night, a little bit of rain this morning, sprinkles here and there, so be careful. The pavement out there is wet as you drive to work this morning. And for my own traffic reporter days, the interesting part of that is Friday mornings are usually the lightest morning of the week. Is that weird or what?
The lightest mornings of the week?
Yeah. Typically, Friday mornings are always the least amount of traffic problems Monday through Friday or on Friday. Now, that's withstanding any weather or anything like that. But if all things are equal, if the weather is, at least dry, no snow, no rain, anything like that, usually Friday mornings are the easiest, and Friday afternoons are usually the worst.
That's because in the morning time, they're just sitting there thinking about, they're going to have the weekend. They just have one more day, and then the weekend's going to come, and they're going to be, men and women of their own destiny. And then at night, it's like, okay, Friday's over. Hurry, I want to get home and start my weekend. That's why.
Shelley?
What?
All due respect, what the hell are you talking about?
Weren't we talking about the traffic?
Yeah, but people of destiny? What is that?
Yeah, they get to, so they have to get up and then they have to go to their job.
Well,
but the weekends are their own.
Yeah, but
they're in charge of their own destiny.
No. But then why does that explain that they have to go to their jobs on Friday morning? Why does that explain the traffic's light? I mean, there's less people going to their jobs on Friday morning.
Because they're in a better mood.
No way.
And they're driving more appropriately.
Oh my God.
And not driving angry.
No, but there's just less volume, which means there's less people on the road. Why is that? Because of destiny? It's because of destiny.
Well, either that or because they're working 10-hour shifts and they get Friday off.
There are a lot of places.
It must be all those government workers that aren't going into work because they work 10-hour shifts. And, yeah, well, that's what it is.
Okay, I'll give you something to notice. If you drive around in your neighborhood and you know where dentists' offices are today, during the day, check out the parking lot at the dentist office. You know what you'll find?
No.
Empty.
Oh, yeah, because most dentist offices, not most of them, but a lot of them take Friday off.
Yeah, they work Monday through Thursday.
Office.
And then they'll say, we work so hard. Oh, those 4 days a week, I don't know if I can handle it.
You have very little compassion for people who don't have to work 24/7.
I don't. Here's what I don't like. If someone has a tough job, if someone is working like, let's say, like certain times, like for example, the GM plant out in Wentzville, where they're making the vans and the pickup trucks, okay?
Yeah.
If they have mandatory overtime sometimes, if they get behind. Matter of fact, I believe they have mandatory overtime going on right now because they're trying to make up for the cars they didn't make when the strike was going on, or at least the trucks and the vans. Okay, so if you work there, there's no excuse. You are required to work overtime. Okay, and sometimes they're working 5, 6, 7 days a week, and working long shifts. Okay. I
They
get it.
like to do that,
Well,
though.
but they get extra money for that. They get overtime pay. Okay.
Yes.
So that's a condition of their employment. Okay. And if someone there says, "Oh man, and once again, most of the people work on the assembly line. That's a physical job. It's not like sitting at a desk all day long. You're
No, it's
picking up
not.
parts
It
you're
is highly physical
Right,
and very
right. You're grabbing
technical.
tools and pushing things down the line and picking up things and putting them in the dashboards of cars and trucks and stuff like that. Okay, I get it, but
ultimately America's safety is at their hands.
okay, whatever. But
It's true.
But
if they don't sit there and do their job correctly, the car could come apart. The car could, not crash properly if somebody hits them. There could be a lot of things. Stop it.
I'm trying to make a point, and you're like, well, if they don't put the dashboard together, your speedometer may not work. And that means you drive down the highway and you get a ticket because of the fact that you wouldn't know how fast you're going. And when you'd say to the police officer, I didn't know how fast I was going because my speedometer doesn't work. And he'd say, well, I know those guys at Wentzville didn't put the speedometer in right, so I'm going to go talk to them. That's Shelley logic, right?
It's Shelley world, and don't judge.
The point I was making was that
Oh, I'm sorry,
most
you had
of
a
those
point.
people,
My bad.
most of those
Continue.
people, they don't complain because they got a job, they're making good money. What drives me crazy is the people that talk about, oh, I have such a tough job. I sit at this desk all day long, and every once in a while the phone rings, and I have to talk to people, and oh my God, I hate that. And every once in a while somebody will send me an email, and I have to answer it, and oh man, my job's just so stressful. Give me a break. Come on. Get real.
Excuse me.
See, you're allergic to me. You're sneezing. That's what it
I'm
is.
allergic to your BS.
There is no BS from me. What are you talking about? I don't.
I mean, sometimes you just come up with things, and it's like,
Shelley, here's what's interesting. If you look at, like, we talked about this the other day. We talked about the what they call the Patel hotels, the Indian people that come to this country,
yes,
and
I've seen that word come up
right
multiple times.
and they work their butts off because of the fact that
They do. Yes, they do.
They come from another country. They realize that this is the land of opportunity. That they can make money. They can provide for their kids, and they work real hard. Okay, I appreciate those kind of people, and you never hear them complain about, oh, I have to work so hard. Oh, I watched this video of this guy yesterday that owns laundromats and talks about how and not nice laundromats. He buys laundromats that are not in the best neighborhoods and not in the best shape, and yet he makes money at them because he goes in and he physically cleans the laundromat himself, and he and makes sure that all the equipment's working and hires people to fix the washers and the dryers and stuff like that, and talks about how he's there 7 days a week. And you know what? I'm thinking to myself, man, and talks about how he enters, empties all the quarters out of the machines and stuff like that, and he's got a whole procedure, and talks about how, does he make a lot of money at these laundromats? No, but yet, you know what? He's supporting his kids, and it works 7 days a week. I like those kind of people. I do. I'm sorry.
I know you do. I know you like people working 7 days a week.
No, it's not necessarily working 7 days a week. It's to the point where they don't complain, and that was his point. He says, I don't complain about having the...
Do I complain too much?
Oh, God. Here we go. 644. Westplex 107.1. It is BS in the Morning, and I am Brad. She is Shelley. It is sponsored by the Allen's Tree Service people. If you have a tree that needs trimming, tree that needs to be removed, whatever the situation, Allen's are the people to call. Family operation out there in Wentzville. Just a little bit. Well, I guess technically they're... I don't know if they're technically in Wentzville or Forestel, but they're out there.
No, they're in Wentzville.
Are they in Wentzville? Excellent company. And once again, you may think that you've dodged the bullet because you made it through the fall and now the leaves are falling off the tree. Hey, when the snow comes and the ice comes and that tree starts to fall onto your roof of your house and go through your living room or your bedroom or something like that, you'll think, why didn't I call Allen's? So check them out. Okay, Shelley, yesterday, I'm a car freak, okay?
Yes, you are.
You know the big deal yesterday with Tesla? You know what they unveiled yesterday? The new pickup truck, okay?
Really?
Yes, really, really bizarre looking. I mean, it looks like, one of the guys said, one of the reviewers said, it looks like a trapezoid on wheels. It's sort of weird in the respect that it has like, it almost looks like an upside down triangle, if that makes any sense, or maybe a right side up triangle, the way it's designed. And here's what's sort of interesting. Elon Musk was giving this press conference in the unveiling and talking about the body is made out of a special aluminum alloy that is used in the SpaceX rockets. And then he talked about how the windows are made out of this special glass that's unbreakable. So as a demonstration, they have a guy fire, I don't know if it was like some kind of a gun or something like that. But anyway, they shot these round, like these big ball projectiles at the windows.
Paintballs?
No.
Like you said before?
Well, they weren't paintballs, but they were like, they were like metal balls. They shot them at the windows of the truck, and they broke.
Oh, did they?
Yes. And Elon Musk, because he's talking about, and the windows are unbreakable. And they did this demonstration, and it breaks the two windows. And then he says, but it didn't penetrate. In other words, it didn't go through the windows. So pretty interesting. And
it didn't, did it?
The downside for me.
So they shattered, basically. They shattered and they cracked internally, is what you're saying.
Well, they look like. They
spidered.
No, they look like a windshield that gets hit by a baseball. You know what I mean? Where you get like you can see where the baseball hit, and then it's like all cracked around there. But the interesting thing about it is, to me, is that once again, and this is sort of fascinating, is the Tesla sales are big on the coasts. They sell lots of Teslas on the West Coast, lots of Teslas on the East Coast. They don't sell a lot of Teslas in the Midwest. Okay, but on the West Coast and the East Coast, they don't sell many pickup trucks. But in the Midwest, like me, I have a pickup truck. A lot of people drive pickup trucks. Some of them, and there's their main vehicle. And they're saying that they don't know if, the automotive experts are saying, we don't know if this is going to go over too well, because pickup truck drivers are usually Ford and Chevy kind of guys, and they're not necessarily a Tesla kind of person. But the crazy part of this is that the version of this truck, the one will go 500 miles on a charge. Think about that. You could drive from here to Kansas City and back and not have to recharge. And the thing will go 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. I mean, that is like Ferrari kind of speed. You know what I mean? I mean, typically cars that can go 0 to 60 in under 3 are like usually hundreds of thousands of dollars of, exotic cars, Maseratis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, that kind of a vehicle. And
so how much will they haul?
Well, but that's what he claims. He claims it'll tow 14,000 pounds, essentially 7 tons. But the funny thing about it to me is that it's like, okay, and here he goes again. Okay, list price is $39,000, okay, which is about $10,000 more than a base.
That's actually not bad.
Well, it's about $10,000 more than a base Chevy F-150 or a Silverado, a base, Chevrolet. But the problem that Tesla has with this is that it's sort of like they give you this base price and you can never get that car. You know what I mean? It's sort of like when you hear some of the car dealers, hey, come on in right now, and we've got new XYZs for only, $999, $9,999, and you go there, I'm sorry, that one's gone. But the deal with Tesla is, since you order them, it's the same thing they have with the Model 3s. They came out and said, hey, they're only going to be, $39,000 or $29,000. Well, nobody can find the $29,000 Tesla. They're all $60,000. So it's going to be interesting. So
kind of like that chicken sandwich, huh?
Yeah. Well, you just can't find those at Popeyes,
Well, so wouldn't you freak out if it was actually a transformer?
No. Here we
you
go.
Wouldn't?
Here we go with Shelley. Shelley comes up with, wouldn't I, think about what she just asked, ladies and gentlemen. Would I freak out if it was actually a transformer? Do you think that's what it is, Shelley? You think he's like, he's secretly making transformers that are going to like turn into like monsters and eat us up or something like that?
You never know. You just never know about things. Seriously.
Here's the difference between Shelley and I. When I say things like that,
There are so many.
it's BS. When Shelley says things like that, she really believes them.
The next time you see me today, you'll see the bite me face.
Okay, 6:56. Westplex 107.1. Yes, Andy Grammer. He's got my feelings exactly down. Good to be live right about now. 7:06. Good morning. BS in the morning. I'm B. She's S. Are she S and I'm B? I can't remember which one is which.
Or are you both?
I don't know.
The question.
No, I'm definitely not you. That's for sure. Hey, by the way, did you see on my Facebook page? Did you see my wedding pictures up there?
I did. Congratulations.
Somebody sent me that, which I thought was pretty funny. It's this website called thenot.com, and essentially, I guess it's some kind of like
which is a huge thing in the wedding industry.
Is that really the knot? Is that a big deal?
Yes.
Okay, now
it's huge.
Is that like like how do they make money? Is that do you pay to put your pictures up there?
It's for the wedding industry.
Right.
And then people go, and when they're trying to plan their own wedding,
right,
they go to the knot.
Right.
And they have a certain thing that helps them. It's like an online what's the word called? Wedding consultant.
So, so then when you get married, is it like what? Because that's if you don't know what we're talking about. If you take a look at my Facebook page, there is and years ago when I first got on Facebook, there used to be a thing you could put on your page where you could put like selected friends. Remember that you could have like a sidebar like with like all your selected friends, and I put in all the Brad Hildebrands, and there must have been at the time there were about 25 of us, and it was sort of funny because here's all these guys with the same name, and it's me. So anyway, the guy who is getting married, his name is Brad Hildebrand, but he's from Dallas, Texas, and I would say he's a much better looking guy than I am, but I would say he's probably maybe mid-60s or something like that, and his wife Lisa looks like she's about 30, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but that could also be a lot of work done. But, you never know. She's very attractive, and he's not a bad-looking man. So,
but he's a cowboy. He is
a cowboy.
They have pictures of him at apparently he's got a ranch and he's got cattle and stuff like that. But his name is Brad Hildebrand, and his wife's are they engaged, or what's the deal on that? Are they married? Is that when do you put your pictures up there? Actually, after you're married, do you put your pictures up there when you're engaged?
That I do not know.
Okay.
Chances are when they're married, because, Well,
anyway,
a lot of stuff can happen when you're engaged.
If you go to my Facebook page, you can see my wedding pictures, but it's not really me. It's another guy with the same name, and that's at bradfb.com. Okay, talked about this a little bit last hour. I still love radio. And what's interesting is
you do.
Radio,
you always have.
Radio is not necessarily just radio, it's audio. Like just this week alone, Shelley and I have started our own podcast, and I listen to all sorts of different things on the radio. And I love in-depth reporting. And the other day I was driving around, I was listening to this report on NPR. It was on KWMU here in St. Louis Public Radio. And it was about the new prosecuting attorney in San Francisco. And the guy's name is Chesa, Chesa. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Chesa or Chesa or something like that. But it's a guy, and his last name is Bowden, Boudin. And what was fascinating to me is that there's a lot of parallels with Kim Gardner here in St. Louis. He's never prosecuted a case before. He's been a public defender. Same situation. I don't think she was a public defender, but she's never prosecuted a case, which is interesting because of the fact that my daughter, who is an attorney, when she wasn't even a full-bred attorney yet, when she was still working part-time, she actually prosecuted cases when she hadn't even graduated from law school yet. And I'm thinking to myself, how could you not prosecute a case? Anyway, the history of this guy is fascinating. His parents belonged to the BLA, the Black Liberation Army. And when he was 1 year old, one night they took him to the babysitter, dropped him off the babysitter, and they went off with a bunch of, and keep in mind, he's a white guy. And his parents went off with a bunch of black guys, and they robbed an armored car. And in the process of robbing the armored car, this is his parents and some other black people, 3 people were killed, 2 policemen and one armored car guard. They stole $1.6 million, robbed the armored car, shot one of the guards, put the money into a U-Haul truck, drove off in a U-Haul truck. They got pulled over. When they opened up the back of the U-Haul truck, the BLA guys were in the back. They opened up fire on the police officers and killed 2 police officers. Okay, these are his parents. This happened when he was 1 year old. His mom served 22 years in the federal pen. His dad is still in jail, will be till he's 75. And he essentially saying is the reason he is going to be the best prosecutor is he saw from the inside how the justice system is really screwed up, especially the prison system. And that there are people in jail that are, thrown in jail, that they don't try to rehabilitate them. They just throw them in jail. They just warehouse them in jail. So what he's already said that is on the first day, because he got elected just the other day, on this first day on the job, he will eliminate cash bail. So if you, for most crimes, if you get arrested for a misdemeanor, or even some minor, some of the lesser felonies, you get arrested, they process you, they let you out. You don't have to, just like we get with the Goofy story. What was it? Someplace where we were talking about that last week it's in New York. The new thing where in order they're not going to do cash bail anymore, but they're going to do incentives. So if you do a crime and you get arrested and then you've got a court date and you show up for your court date, they're going to give you Mets tickets. Like, okay, scratch my head. I still think that's hilarious. Well, and it's completely wrong. Sort of spooky. Anyway, his deal is he's not going to prosecute any of these, and he's not. He just flat out is not going to prosecute a lot of misdemeanors. So if the police arrest, somebody in San Francisco for this, that, whatever, and it's a misdemeanor, he just don't care. And so, in other words, there's no charges. I mean, in other words, the case is going to be dismissed. So the police officer would, let's say, catch you for misdemeanor, let's say shoplifting. Okay, let's say you stole, I don't know, a box of golf balls. You were in a sporting goods store and you stole a box of golf balls, and they caught you. They would arrest you, and then he would say, golf balls, who cares? Not going to charge you. What do you think of that? I think it's silly, actually. Well, the interesting thing for me is that he talks about that he went from the life when he was 1 year old, when his parents got thrown in jail. Then he essentially was put up for, I guess, adoption, or he lived with foster parents. And apparently these people were very rich. And he went to private schools and the whole bit. And during the interview, and this is the thing that got me, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm really getting tired of this. He apologized for, are you ready? His whiteness. I'm sorry? His whiteness. He apologized. I heard what you said, but I don't understand the apology. It's the whole thing about white privilege. The fact that if you're white, you have certain privileges that people of color don't have. And yet I scratch my head on that, because if you look at the statistics, the majority of people in poverty are not black people, they're white people. And that's usually the case in the majority of people who are arrested for crimes are white people. I mean, it's just to the point where it's like, okay, so because you're born white, that gives you privilege. I mean, Shelley, when's the last time you and I have gone into a place and go like, hey, we're here, and you know what? Like, for example, Shelley and I did the other day. We went to a restaurant, and it was very busy, and there was a 20-minute waiting period. And Shelley went up to the lady and said, hey, you know what? We're white. Give us a table right now. That is not what happened, and you know it. Stop it. It's not, but that's the point where it's like, okay, that's like, okay, what privilege do you have because you're white? I mean, I don't get that. I have no privilege. But does that make any sense to you? I mean, I keep hearing more. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's white privilege. But I'm not a person of color, so I don't know how they truly feel. Yeah, but inside. But once again, people are discriminated on a daily basis. They are, regardless of what color they are. That's true. Exactly. Women are discriminated. For a long time, women couldn't get jobs. I mean, like in the very business we're in right now. When I first started in this business, there were no women salespeople. There were no women on the air. There were no women in positions of power. It was all men. Okay, that's changed. That's not the case anymore. But yet, once again, it's to the point where if I go to the bank and I walk in and I go, hey, I'd like to get a $100,000 loan. And they say, well, have any collateral? No, but I'm a white guy. I mean, do you think I'm going to get a loan?
No, you will not. But there's no guarantee that I would get a loan or another person of color would get the loan either. There's no guarantee.
But see, that's what I don't get. It's to the point where there's and I'm not saying discrimination, but the reason I can't get a loan in that scenario is because I don't have any collateral. If I had a house and they'd say, okay, well, we could give you a home equity loan. Okay, great. But if I say, no, I don't have a house. Well, do you own any property? No. Do you have a savings account? No, I have nothing. I'm broke. Can I get $100,000? How's your credit? It sucks. I got a 550 credit rating. Oh, you know what? But give me that loan. Nope. Sorry, sir. Oh, you just don't like me because I'm a white guy. I don't get it. It just drives me nuts.
And so do you think that somebody, a person of color or a woman, could go in and say that same exact thing and they could get a loan?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, that's my point. My point is that if they walked in, if a black person, a woman, whatever, and walked in with the same scenario, they wouldn't get a loan either.
No, they wouldn't.
The banker would say, well, I'm sorry, but you don't qualify. You don't have the proper credit score. You don't have any collateral. You don't have this. You don't have that. I mean, anybody who walked in the bank would get that treatment. It's not discrimination.
Well, it's very much like a certified woman business.
Yeah.
And there's no certified men businesses.
But you're going to get mad at me about this, but what do I say all the time about LBB, Little Black Book? It's like it's women only. I keep saying, well, can I be an LBB person? You go, no.
I will say that one time in LBB, there was one gentleman, we were meeting over at this cafe over in O'Fallon.
Yeah.
And there was actually a gentleman that came, and it was a Coffee and Connections, and he actually stayed. And we were like, do you not know? But he stayed through the whole thing. And how he could not have gotten the vibe, number one. Number two, how he could have not felt awkward. But he did. He stayed through the whole thing.
So you discriminated against him because he was a man?
No, because this is an all-female organization. We have wingmen, and they help us.
I don't want to be a wingman
without them.
I don't want to be a wingman. I want to be a tailman.
Okay. Anyway, you're missing my point.
No, I
Do you know what my point is?
Yeah, your point is you don't make any sense.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Oh, look, it's 7:18.
Westplex 107.1. Good morning to you, 722. It is BS in the Morning. You can find our website at BSinthemorning.show. I am Shelley. She is Brad. That's how we roll, right?
That is how we roll.
Talked about this earlier. This is the story of the top 10 songs. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know this existed. They give away Toonie Awards. This is Waffle House, and this is based upon their Touch Tunes jukeboxes. In the past,
they do. They have them sitting at all their tables.
Right. Okay. In the past 12 months, this is the songs that are the top played songs in the Waffle House. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Number 10, Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. Number 9, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Can see that.
Okay, number 8, Tequila by Dan and Shay. Number 7, Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd.
I can see that.
Number 6, Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars.
Absolutely. Jesus, #blessed.
Number 5, Heaven by Kane Brown. You know who Kane Brown is?
I don't.
Kane Brown's gotten to be a big country star. Number 4, Meant to Be by BB Rexa featuring Florida Georgia Line. Number 3, Location by Khalid.
What is that, please?
Location by Khalid.
I don't even know if I know that one.
And what's interesting is that was the number 1 song from last year. Location by Khalid. Number 2, Booed Up by Ella May. Are you familiar with that song?
I am not.
And it's BOO'Dup. We'll have to, and I'm not even sure if I know who Ella May is. It's ELLAMAI. Ella May, Booed Up. And the number 1 song by, according to the most plays on the Touch Tunes jukeboxes at the Waffle House over the 12 months is Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. Okay.
Okay, where are these Waffle Houses located? Is this just
This is all over
Waffle Houses across the country?
Yeah.
Or Waffle Houses?
No. This is the national
within,
database.
just like a smattering of Waffle Houses.
No. This is the national. In other words, they keep track of all the songs that are played, and these are the 10. Like I just counted them down, 10 through 1. The top 10 songs played all over the country at Waffle Houses.
Well, I think that, I don't know, it sounds kind of skewed to me.
Okay, I have to be honest with you that I do not like Chris Stapleton. I love country music. I listen to WIL most of the time. Occasionally I'll listen to The Bull or KFAV, but I do love country music. But I'll have to be, in full disclosure that when a Chris Stapleton song comes on the radio, I punch the button. I don't know
So why do you do that?
I don't like him. I'm to the point
Why?
where,
Is it a man thing or?
No, I just don't like the music. It's just like, you talk about, you kid about this all the time, but it is true that there's a lot of artists nowadays, especially on, the music we play, the men who sort of like, they sound whiny.
They do. So do you think that Chris Stapleton sounds whiny?
Well, like, for example, I think Post Malone sounds like a whiner. Like, he's always like,
Yeah, he always sounds forlorn.
Right, like he's like, oh, I'm poor me. I'm Post Malone. I'm driving around.
I need to get my teeth fixed.
Right. Excuse me. I don't believe you just said that, but that's a whole other story.
It's true.
he needs to get a little less ink too. That's true as well.
Well,
too.
no, I don't have a problem with the ink, but get your teeth fixed, man. You're a millionaire.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't know what it is about Chris Stapleton. I just don't like his music. And to me, it's to the point where what's sort of funny about it is maybe it's more traditional country, whereas most of the stuff they play like in WIL is sort of like, what they call bro country, or, they themselves call themselves new country. And it's a lot of, Dan and Shay, stuff like that. I just don't like Chris Stapleton. So, and Tennessee Whiskey, to me, it's like, okay, not my kind of song,
Have you heard it?
Oh, yeah, I know which song it is.
Oh, I don't. See, I don't listen to country music. That's not my bag.
Of those top 10, I know I've heard Location by K-Lid, but I've never heard Boot Up by LMA. So in the break here, I'm going to find it on YouTube. I
know you are.
I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to say, wow, I love LMA. No?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for that.
Okay, 7:26. Westplex 107.1. It is BS in the morning, a Friday morning, a high of 42 today. Not too much different from where we're at right now. We're at 39. Complete forecast is coming up in just a couple minutes with our favorite meteorologist. Who is that, Shelley?
Jennifer Wojcicki.
Okay, did you do your homework? Last break, we're talking about the top 10 songs as rated by the Waffle House Touch Tune Jukebox System. And the number 2 song was Booed Up by Ella May. Did you listen to it?
I heard it from your end.
What'd you think?
I thought it was slow.
I'll be honest with you. I've never heard the song before, and somehow I feel sort of stupid that I didn't even know who she was, because I look her up on Wikipedia, and she's come on to the music scene, like in the last 18 months with quite a number of awards. As a matter of fact, in 2018, she won the Best Song of the Year. This is the Soul Train Music Awards. She won for Boot Up. And then in 2019, she won iHeart Music Best Song of the Year for Boot Up. She won that. Billboard Music Awards, same thing, Boot Up. I've never heard the song before, and I
Brad Hildebrand, I cannot believe that you are not on top of this.
Well, I sort of pride myself on knowing the music. I mean, I
know you do. I mean, you're like a connoisseur of all things radio.
Well, but I can usually tell you, in most music formats, I can tell you pretty much who the top artists are on country right now. I can tell you who the top artists are.
Well, clearly you can't.
well, no, but she's not country though. This is, and once again, I admit I'd never heard of her before. Born in England, she's 25 years old.
What is her genre?
Well, R&B, sort of like, and you heard, and quite honestly, when I played the song, I'm going like, okay, it's okay, but to me, it's like, when you heard the song, did you go like, wow, that's a great song?
I didn't, but
neither did I.
That doesn't mean anything because I'm still stuck in the 80s. So.
Well, my favorite
song is Ice Ice Baby.
I can.
Well, that and My Immortal, but you do play Ice Ice Baby, so thank you for that.
I can listen to most music nowadays in our genre and what would be called CHR, our top 40, or hot AC, whatever you consider what we play in this radio station. And I can listen to most new music, and I can usually say, that's going to be a hit. And, and 9 times out of 10, I'm right. It's because I've done it for years and years and years and years and years.
Since you came out of the womb. Yeah,
since I came out of the womb. And every once in a while, like, for example, what I find fascinating is the thing, like we talked about this with TikTok, the songs that have gotten to be, these huge country songs, which country music has ignored. Like the Get Up song by Blanco Brown, which was like number
Little
one.
Nas X.
Little Nas X and stuff like that. And what's interesting is once I've heard that, I thought to myself, yeah, I like that song. And even the original version of Little Nas X, Old Country Road, I didn't necessarily... it was okay, but when they remixed it with Billy Ray Cyrus, I thought to myself, nah, that's good. And sort of, it's one of those, what do you call it? Like a novelty kind of song. It's to the point where it's so different that it sort of sticks out. But here's a perfect example.
Like Shaggy and Sting.
I'm old enough to remember when the punk rock thing hit. Okay,
I am too.
Okay, so here I am in a store about 3 nights ago, and listening to the Muzak system, whatever it's called, I don't know, the background music system. I think Muzak's out of business now. But anyway, I'm listening to the music, and I hear a song in the store that when it came out was super controversial.
What song was that?
It was a Sex Pistols song, and the Sex Pistols were like big into the punk rock thing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay.
So what kind of store did you go into?
No, but this...
that would be playing the Sex Pistols over the intercom.
This was made, but it's now, but see, the point I'm trying to make was, back then, it was like, oh my God, that's punk rock. Now it's gotten to be mainstream. Think about how many rock and roll songs. I mean, like for example, one of the songs on the Waffle House list was Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, when that song came out, people went like,
it wasn't punk rock.
No, but what I'm saying is it was changing the genre of that particular. It was changing
era.
Yes, it was to the point where when you heard Bohemian Rhapsody, you go, what the hell was that? It starts out, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, all the weird stuff that's in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mamma Mia, let me go.
Right.
Let me go.
And it's got weird stuff in it. But today,
and you have to bob your head.
Well, but today it's gotten to the point where it's gotten to be like, hey, that's mainstream. Back then it was like cutting edge. I mean, look at how many groups like that. I mean, like, for example, look at Florida Georgia Line and country. I mean, people go like, okay, is that, and they're the ones that started, at least a lot of people say, started this bro country revolution in country music, where it's about, here's, I can write a bro country song. Hey, here I'm off the top of my head. Hey, baby, you look great. Let's go out in my pickup truck. Yeah, I got those big 34-inch wheels. Yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to get stuck in the mud, and we're going to go down by the river, and you and I are going to go skinny dip, and it's going to be great. And we're going to, listen to music in the bed of our truck, and we're going to dance in the bed of my truck. Okay, that's like 90% of, Oh, I forgot a line. Put your put your feet up on my dashboard with your pretty pink toenails. Okay.
And don't forget some kind of liquor. Liquor is always involved. Usually whiskey, maybe tequila.
And that's like if you listen to most. If you listen to most bro country songs, that's pretty much 90% of the. Hey, I'm going to pick you up in my pickup truck. We're going to go down and go out into the woods. We're going to get stuck in the farmer's field. Put your pretty pink toes on my dashboard. We're going to have a good time tonight. It's like, okay, that's the bro country stuff. And people like Brad Paisley's gotten upset about it, because if you listen to Brad Paisley, his music's all over the place. Some of it's fun, some of it's very serious, but it's not the same stuff over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
You mean it actually has more words than something that they repeat 100 times throughout the song?
Brad Paisley,
and that's still not even the name of the song?
Brad Paisley has tremendously, funny stuff, like online, where he talks about, dating online, and he has some extremely, great ballads with him and Carrie Underwood. And I think he does a ballad with Reba McEntire. I mean, and some, and if you've ever seen him in person, in concert, he's an incredible guitarist. And, and he's a multi-talented guy, but yet he's upset.
I wonder if he's left-handed.
Where do you come up with these questions?
Because left-handed people are gifted, and they usually have a different gift than the norm.
I wonder if he
And so
wears...
if he's as multifaceted and multi-talented as you say, I do wonder if he's left-handed.
Okay.
That'd be something to look up.
This is the interesting insights in Shelley, that a couple weeks back ago, I made the mistake of saying that I wear Hanes underwear, and Shelley says on the air, I thought you were more a Fruit of the Loom kind of guy. I'm going like, what the hell was that? what difference? I mean, so in other words, okay, explain to me in Shelley world, if you have two guys and they're both dressed pretty much the same, and you say and you would go up to a guy and go like, what kind of underwear do you have on? And the guy would say, well, I have Hanes. And the other guy would say Fruit of the Loom. Tell me the difference between a Hanes guy and a Fruit of the Loom guy.
Well, the Fruit of the Loom guy have much better spokespeople, for one. And for another, they're sized differently. And if I meant anything like that, I meant like boxers or briefs.
Yeah, but Fruit of the Loom and Hanes, they make all those underwear. They make boxers and briefs, stuff like that, right?
I know that.
So if
there's a difference between boxers and briefs, guys.
Okay, but if I'm a Hanes guy, what does that tell you about? If I said
whitey tighty.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
No, Hanes makes boxers and stuff like that. They make all sorts of underwear. They make shirts, T-shirts, V-necks, regular T-shirts.
And they have really good, cool spokespeople. But when you think of Hanes, you think of whitey tighties.
Okay, whatever.
In Shelley world, you do. But I don't usually think about men's underwear.
Okay, but see, here's the difference. Here's the difference between, this is
what
the
is
difference.
The difference, Brad?
Well, the sexes are that you can make fun of the fact that I say I'm a Hanes guy, and you say, I say I'm a Hanes guy, you say I'm a Fruit of the Loom guy. But if I said to you, hey, Shelley, are you a Victoria's Secret gal? Are you a Playtex gal? That would be inappropriate.
That would, because first of all, Playtex, ew, and second of all, Victoria's Secret doesn't carry a line for the more mature figure.
Boy, I learn everything. I learn all sorts of stuff in the show every morning.
Well, you brought it up.
Well, but it's to the point. No, you're the one that brought it up. You're the one that's saying, that your comment was that you thought I was a Fruit of the Loom guy. But now
that was from a week ago, Brad.
No, what if I would have said? But see, I have a memory of things like that.
I can't remember half the things I say yesterday.
When you insult me, I have a memory and things like that. What if I would have said to you?
You do.
What if I would have said, well, Shelley, I'm a Calvin Klein kind of guy.
Plus, Hanes you can buy at Sam's Club.
She's going to dodge that question. 747. Westplex 107.1 with the super clean version of that song where there's whole lines missing. Yes. And why do we do that? Because Shelley requested that. She got offended by the original version of that song, so we had to give the super clean version of that song on the radio, right?
Yeah, that's it. Well, we pride ourselves on the fact that if you've got your kids or your grandkids or your parents or your grandparents in the car, you're not embarrassed.
Yeah, and as Shelley always says, that's what she says because of the fact that, she makes her kids listen to Kids Bop instead of the song that's on the radio.
Sure, Brad. Now, actually, that's not true because when my kids were kids, we'd sit there and we would jam. We would jam in the car. But not a lie.
20 years ago, when Shelley was driving around her kids in the car, she'd look back and she'd say,
no, she wouldn't. She would say, okay, here it comes. And then we would sit there. I mean, CNC Music Factory, just a whole bunch of stuff. TLC. Yeah, it was good.
How about your favorite song?
Oh, Ice Ice Baby?
No, 290.
Oh, God, you're such a man-child, Brad. The first step to recovery is admittance.
Admit what?
That you're a man-child.
Explain to me what a man-child is.
A man-child?
Yeah. What is
a man-child who keeps on playing Henry DiCarlo.
Henry DiCarlo?
That's a man-child. You're 12. You're 17.
I laugh every time I hear that.
I know you do, and you just get the biggest kick out of it. It is the funniest thing to witness ever.
It's like my favorite commercial, the one I showed you, the Lane Bryant commercial that they hijacked.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see that commercial,
I actually did like that one, but
it's funny. I mean, and it's funny.
Yeah, see, Victoria's Secret doesn't carry things like that for the more mature woman.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but Lane Bryant does.
I do.
Lane Bryant does.
Yes.
See, I'm not in women's underwear, so I wouldn't know that. It's to the point where I don't. First off, if I go and shop, I never go into the women's wear area. You know what I mean? I mean, I just like to the point where I'm like, I could care less. I'm not a woman. I don't wear those clothes. I could, I don't care.
Okay.
But there are guys that do that?
That do what?
Go to the women's wear section and look at women's clothes and underwear and stuff like that?
I could sit there. Yes.
There are guys. You know guys like that.
I don't personally know them, but I know that it happens.
You could give me names of guys.
I would never give you names of guys because that's a personal thing, but I don't know any, but I know it happens.
I once again, I mean, I go to the store,
I go to the lingerie department at Dillard's, and there's this man sitting there, and I'm like, sir, and he's just sitting there, and he just looks like he's in euphoria. And I said, sir, are you looking for someone, or is someone trying something on? No, I just wanted to sit here. I didn't catch his name, Brad. Sorry.
Is this a joke, or did this really happen?
What do you think?
I don't know. It sounds like BS to me. I'm going to call BS on you for a change. So you went to Dillard's, and there's a guy sitting in the women's underwear section, and you said to him,
it's called lingerie.
Okay, whatever. And you said to him, sir, can I help you? I mean,
I do that a lot, actually.
Yes, so
if there's somebody, if I'm shopping.
Yes.
Because I shop frequently at different places.
Yes.
And they know me by name. And so if I see somebody looking for something specific, or somebody will come up and ask my opinion, I will give that to them, and I will help them shop. And they're like, oh, I'm looking for shoes. Oh, that's just around the jewelry department, and then like another lane over.
So they know you by name. They
do.
Okay, so what does that tell you about me when I go to Scrap Mart in Valley Park and recycle aluminum and copper wire, and they know me by name there? What does that say?
That says that you are thrifty and that you've made an impression on them.
Yeah, right. Maybe not a good impression. So I'm always impressed.
Good, bad, or none.
The lady knows.
3 types of
I walk
impressions.
in there, and the lady knows me by name. Hey, Brad, how are you? I'm going like, I don't know who she is, but I'm thinking to myself.
She's clearly the lady that works at the Scrap Mart.
Well, but how does she know my name?
Because she has to check you out. I don't know. Did you ever get her name?
No, I don't know who she is. But once again, it's like
that's the civil thing to do, man-child, is to go up there and say, I'm sorry, I never caught your name.
No, I don't know if that would be the right way to do it. As a guy, you go like, hey, baby, what's your name? Isn't that the way you do it as a guy?
Not in a professional capacity.
Hey, baby, what's your sign?
Yeah, right. Okay, so this is much like you taking the challenge on to say, you look nice today. And I told you to say that.
I got in trouble.
Go up to 3 women and say, you look very nice today.
I said, but
you don't do that.
I got in trouble.
What you do is you say, you're very attractive today, which is a completely different connotation in a professional setting.
I had 2 women who were not. Remember, we did that. It was like a month or so ago, and we did that at the chamber meeting. I went up to 2 women I did not know, and they were not happy with me. But yet there were 3 or 4 other women I said that to, and they were like, "Well, thank you, appreciate that," But once again,
my point was you were supposed to do it verbatim, not embellish.
I said you look very attractive today,
and that is not the same as you look nice. Or nice shoes. You have very nice shoes on.
You have very nice shoes.
That means something to women.
Very nice shoes?
Yes. If you compliment a woman on her shoes, yes, that's a very nice compliment.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. All day today when I see a woman, I'm going to go up to her and say, hey, you have very nice shoes.
Just say, yeah, but if she looks like a good Russian woman in sensible shoes, don't compliment her on her shoes.
A good Russian woman?
That's a joke from years gone by. If she looks like a woman in comfortable shoes,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, if you're going to look at her shoes, look at her shoes. And if she doesn't have nice shoes on, don't say a word.
Where does Russian come into that?
It was a joke from years ago, 20 years ago.
So Russian women wear comfortable shoes is what you're saying?
Brad,
I don't get it.
let it go.
You're the one that threw it out there.
It's 8:02.
You're the one that threw it out there about Russian women. I'm going like, what does Russian women have to do with the shoes?
It has nothing to do with shoes, but usually I'm not even going to go there. I'm not. I'm not going to play.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Well, that's going to do it for BS in the morning. I'm going to go out and find some Russian women and see if they're wearing sensible shoes this morning. That's what I'm going to do. That's my job.
You just can't let it go, can you?
I don't get it. Russian women in sensible shoes.
It has nothing to do with anything. It was a simple, funny comment from 20 years ago.
Well, but what if those Russian women? They're probably not happy to hear you talk about, them wearing sensible shoes. You don't think like so? In other words, if I found
that's why you need to let it go, Brad.
If I found a Russian woman today had like 6-inch heels, stuff like that, I go, hey, are you Russian lady? I'm sorry,
No.
those are you can't
Then
wear
you
those.
say,
Those aren't.
Those are some nice shoes.
No, those aren't sensible shoes. And then she'd
They
say,
don't need to wear sensible shoes.
she says, well, it's very sensible when
I'm not even going to play with you because it's only going to make it worse. So. It's 8:06, so the most popular man in St. Charles
Shelley,
steps up to the microphone and says...
Shelley, you're getting sort of agitated.
Man-child. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Come out to Darting Prairie tonight to see the lighting of the trees, and it's a lovely event for the Salvation Army, and it's going to be amazing. Always is. I can't calm down because I'm very excited about tonight.
And now the most important man in St. Charles County steps to the microphone and says...